Hello everyone, my name is Yara, and today I am coming at you with something a little bit different than usual. Still book related, so don't click out of the video yet. And it has to do with these lovely paintings slash artwork slash crafts. A few months ago, I was thinking about ways that I can decorate my room, and I really like doing crafts, so I was researching a bunch of stuff that I could do, especially with book pages, because I like that aesthetic. And I don't actually know where I got this idea, if it was completely original. I might have been influenced by something I saw on Pinterest, but I've been looking and I can't find anything that resembles like what I did. So maybe I am just original, who knows? But anyway, it's centered around having book pages on a canvas and having a silhouette of something book related or whatever pop culture reference related that you like. I obviously did it around books because I love books. And I figured that since it's a very book related craft and maybe a lot of people would like to learn how to do it and it's so easy, I figured I would make a tutorial about it and show you what I did. Just as a disclaimer, this video is a mess. I had so many technological issues around the time that I was making this video. My phone kept saying that its memory was full, even though it wasn't. So it just kept stopping recording in the middle of me trying to record a video. So there were a bunch of clips where it kind of just stops abruptly. Because I did this 3 different times, I did have enough footage to show you exactly what you need to do and all the steps. However, I flip around between which one I'm doing. So at one moment you'll see the trident symbol, some moment you'll see the snitch, and some moment you'll see the crow. I think these two are fairly obvious what they are, but the crow is actually 6 of crows. I know it looks like a mockingjay, I've gotten that comment before, but I meant it to be 6 of crows. But also, I don't really care if it's a mockingjay either. Ambiguity. So yeah, this was super easy to do. Anybody can do it. It's also very affordable. You don't need to spend a lot of money. And it takes around maybe 1 to 2 hours to do. One if you're really efficient. So that's all I have. Please enjoy the video. Hi again. I am back in voiceover mode. So first we're going to start with methods and materials. Wow, the STEM major really came out of me right then. Pretty much what you need to do these canvas art. So first you're gonna need a canvas. The size is your preference. I'm using a 10 by 10 inch canvas, which is funnily enough not the one shown because I forgot to take a picture of the unmade canvas before I started gluing stuff onto it. The one here I think is 8 by 8 inches, I believe. These do not have to be expensive. I got mine on sale at Michael's, and you can also find them at Walmart, I'm pretty sure. The next most important thing you need to get is Mod Podge, which is pretty much a glue-like substance that is going to be the basis on how we actually get these pages onto the canvas. I prefer the matte finish, but again, that's preference. And you can also get this at any local craft store. I got mine at Walmart. Next, you'll need a disposable sponge brush and a few regular and small size paintbrushes. You'll also need black paint for the silhouette painting on the canvas. And I'm using an acrylic paint that I've had for years that I've also got from Michael's. You'll also need a book that you aren't scared of ripping apart. I know, it's sacrilege to rip pages out of a book, but just don't use a book that you care about. Then you'll need a stencil of the thing that you want to paint on the canvas. I did 3 of these, and the one that's shown here is a trident symbol from Percy Jackson, for obvious reasons, but I also did the snitch and a crow for 6 of crows. These were really easy to make. I just printed them out from pictures I found on the internet and cut them out. Even this step is not even necessary. If you are pretty talented with art, you can go straight on ahead onto the canvas and just draw. But I wanted to make the process as fast as possible and minimize the amount of errors I could make, so I decided to go with the stencil. Here's a quick tip for figuring out how to make sure that the stencil is the right size for your canvas. Pretty much what I did was I went to Adobe Illustrator, but you can also do this on PowerPoint, so I'm going to show it on PowerPoint because that's a little bit more accessible. Anyway, I made a box that was 10 by 10 inches, which was supposed to mimic the size of the actual canvas. And then I copied and pasted the picture that I wanted to use as the stencil and placed it wherever I wanted it to be actually placed on the canvas. That way I could get a feeling of how big I wanted the picture to be. Then I just made note of the dimensions that the picture ended up being, and I copied and pasted that onto a Word doc and printed that out. I'm sure there is probably more efficient ways to do this, or you could just eyeball it, but I wanted there to be some uniformity in the canvases, so I wanted to make sure they were all relatively the same size. Alrighty, now that we've established what we need, time to begin! So because we are working with paint and glue, I wanted to make sure I didn't make a mess, so I put a cardboard box on the floor. Now what I'm doing first is I'm pretty much just estimating and planning out where I'm going to put all the pieces of paper and making sure that I have a decent plan going through my mind. And after I decide where I'm going to put the paper, I lay out a layer of the Mod Podge onto the canvas where I'm going to put that paper. I'm also going to put a layer of Mod Podge on the paper itself, and this is just to reinforce and make sure that there is enough glue on every part of the paper so that it stays on and it's smoothly laid out onto the canvas. You really want to make sure you have a thick enough layer of Mod Podge or else it's not going to stick and it's going to get a little bumpy. Make sure you put glue on the sides as well because these can end up flapping out later on. I also made sure to pinch the corner so we get a pretty nice and straight corner, and later on we're going to fix this to make it a little more nice. So we're just going to repeat that by first laying down where the paper is going to go and then adding the Mod Podge and sticking it down. If you find that there's parts of the paper that are not sticking to the canvas, feel free to add more Mod Podge. This is probably going to happen a lot on the sides. So just make sure you have a good enough layer and press it down. So now fast forwarding to the end, for these last pieces that are going to go over the edge, you don't need to worry about the flap that's going to end up falling over. We're going to get rid of that later and fix that. The most important thing is to make sure that all parts of the canvas are covered, and if you have a lot laying over, that's totally fine. So now we're going to take some scissors and flip over the canvas, and we're going to cut off all those extra pieces that are just flapping over on the back of it. Be careful not to cut the actual canvas here, it can get pretty close sometimes. And I apologize that this part is not in frame, but we're also going to cut the corners to make them have a clean end. Now you're going to take your stencil and start tracing the pattern onto the canvas. Make sure to hold the stencil down pretty firmly or else your design will get ruined if it moves around a lot. And once you have the basic design drawn onto the canvas, you can start painting. Now for this step, make sure you take your time with this. I spent almost half an hour on one design. It takes a lot of time, and the more attention to detail that you do, the better the outcome will turn out. However, for the sake of this video not being a million hours long, I'm going to fast forward through it. So this is what I meant when I said my camera stopped recording, so now we're on to the crow. But once you let your painting dry, you want to Mod Podge the entire canvas all over again, and this will seal everything together and make sure that your canvas will last long. Now you'll notice there's going to be a white cast on the black paint, but don't worry about that at all, it'll dry clear. You're also going to want to flip over the canvas and make sure any of those loose flaps that we tried to cut off are also pinned down with the Mod Podge. And once that dries, you have your completed canvas. I'm really happy with the way these turned out. I think they look really cool on my wall, and they're awesome for booktube backgrounds. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, and please let me know if you want more videos like this.
and I'll see you later. Bye!